What impact has InjuryFree's program had on your coworkers and your facility?
From a coworker standpoint, I'm not an operator that's out on the floor day in and day out, but I do have the fortune of working with a team of about 125 employees in our department here in Conway. And to be honest, what it has done for me from a manager perspective is, to be honest, we had a hideous safety record from an ergonomic standpoint 5 years ago. And ergonomics, and I'm sure any manager can appreciate, is a very difficult safety type item to address and to try to solve. Sometimes you can mitigate some things just from a task standpoint out on the floor. You can do some stretches maybe in shift exchange meetings. Sometimes it takes some extensive capital investments out on the lines to modify things and get things to the right height, but it's extremely difficult. What InjuryFree has done for us in this facility, and specifically in our department, are basically three things. Number one, the ridiculous safety record that we had in the past has basically come to world class. Our facility as a whole has now reached the world class level for the first time in its history, at least in the recent history that I'm aware of. Our department specifically went from having several injuries a month many years ago to the point where we've been able to string records of 500 plus days and now recently 400 plus days of safe work in our department. And it's a very large department, 125 employees plus. That in itself, the results speak very highly of things we've done here. And I truly believe, and operators and managers alike feel very adamant, that InjuryFree is, if not the key piece, a very major piece in that results going in the right direction from a safety perspective. And I guess the other thing InjuryFree has done, at least for our department and the facility as a whole, is whether you have a near miss or any type of incident, InjuryFree is a very viable and easy corrective action to send people to InjuryFree to not only treat things, but help prevent and get some folks at a different fitness level than maybe they were before. And that can help them out both personally outside of the mill and on their job.
How has InjuryFree affected you personally?
From a personal standpoint, I had the fortune, at least in the last 5 years, to get into fitness, whether it's biking or lifting weights and so on and so forth. And typically you pick up tips from the folks at the gym, and sometimes it's good advice and not good advice. But what InjuryFree has done for me are actually two things. At the gym you learn how to do some exercises and how to lift. But what InjuryFree has done for me is how to prevent injuries. I would never stretch. I would struggle with tendonitis in my elbow. I didn't learn the preventative things to keep me from getting injured. And InjuryFree not only helped me treat some of those symptoms, but to go a step further is how to prevent them. And that's what InjuryFree has personally done for me.
Overall, what would you say about InjuryFree's solutions?
It's always difficult, whether you're dealing with a small capital project or trying to roll out something from a mill-wide perspective or a sector-wide perspective. And from an InjuryFree standpoint, it is an investment, and it's not a decision that should be taken lightly. But I think Casey as a whole firmly believes that, you know, a dollar of prevention is money well spent versus dealing with injuries and getting our folks, our Casey family, getting those folks injured on the job, and that's the last thing we want to see. So the results speak for themselves here at the Conway facility, and I'm a firm believer it is a sound investment, and it will and can make a difference in any facility.